Hi everyone, welcome. Well, we've still got our little note here from last time we checked in on the VermiBag Mini. That was 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago. We were celebrating the channel's 7 years online on YouTube. So the idea with this piece of paper here, I guess, was that it was just providing a shady spot because this piece of plastic is fairly translucent, almost transparent, and the theory was that if we provided a dark spot for them, then the daylight that makes its way down into the system during the day would not cause the worms to steer clear of the area. So I'm not sure if that's what we would normally find there or not, like a certain amount of clear evidence of moisture and quite possibly worm activity. I mean, this thing being gobbled away the way it is might be signs of some worm or perhaps even springtail activity. And here's some of these lovely leaves, still kind of holding on to their color. And you know what we're going to do is we're going to probably use these leaves as just stuff to blend in throughout the bed, because I've got even more similar leaves. We've been really looking at the edge of this little view window here, thinking how nice it would be to finally show some progress, because it always seemed to me like this lower edge of the window was pretty much the level that we've kept at over the entire lifespan of this system. And the system's now 486 days of age. So it did seem like just being super generous with the bedding was almost the only possible way to really see the level in here rise. So I've been wanting to be really generous with the bedding, so we'll be blending all this old stuff in that's been in here now for a week, just sitting out on the top surface as sort of like a top dressing, and we'll just incorporate it. But the stuff is a little bit dry, so I've got my spray bottle here. I thought that perhaps the best way to incorporate it would be to, at the same time, blend a little bit of moisture in along with it. So why don't we do a little bit of that? That'll give us an excuse to sort of till around the entire system, give the system a nice little squirt down, and we'll just see if we can create a nice lap around the entire system. Well, that was quite a bit of material to be blended in, and all the while the wand spraying water. And even now, as I try to get my glove free of any of the stuff that has stuck to it, we continue to spray even more water. And the one thing I definitely noticed as we made our way around was that on the very edges, out along the edge of the bag, it does seem like the system is quite dry. So there are spots right up against the, let's see if we can grab a little sample of it from over here. I don't think I dampened it. So definitely some dry stuff out on the very edges. I do have plastic. Oops, just dropped my box of bedding. You know what? This might be a good time to take a pause so I can pick all that up, because it's all over the floor now, and I guess the stuff on the floor is what's going to end up getting used in here as bedding for this feeding. So guess what? Break time. Alright, problem solved. The mess has been cleaned up, and we've got our bedding with which we can feed on the ready here. So most of it fell on the floor. I was able to pick the majority of it up, and well, some of it we just threw right into the dust pan and is going to be included with today's feeding. So now this stuff definitely has a nice moisture content to it. We were definitely generous with that moisture. Hopefully the worms appreciate that. I would imagine that they're going to enjoy getting a little soaking like this. Alright, so let's grab this stuff here, which can become our foundation for today's feeding. It's a nice generous helping of bedding material, and well, we wanted to make use of this fancy piece of pink paper here too. little piece of newspaper. Nice little platform onto which we could drop today's food. And wow, the bagel sucked up all that water. I thought this thing was going to still be standing in water, but it has totally acted like a sponge. This bagel was completely dried out. It's an everything bagel, by the way. But sitting in that water, it's managed to suck up all that water. There was a lot of water in that little container, so this should be a nice little treat for them, I would assume. Let's not forget to return these old objects too, but besides that, I'm going to drop in a little bit of my BTI flakes here, and on top of the bagel and pumpkin stems we could throw a little bit of my grit, and then we've also got the remains of their meal, which is a bunch of celery. Nice little starch and veggie assortment, a little bit of grit, a nice healthy dose of extra bedding for them, and oh, let's not forget, I keep looking around and I keep finding more stuff. I've got worm chow too. So we'll sprinkle a little bit of that in, and that right there I believe makes for a really awesome looking meal. So I've got my box of leaves all set to go. So why don't we level things off and we can leave the system sort of the way we left it last time, which is with a nice top coating of leafy matter. And it'll just be going in here dry, I suppose. Although my squirt bottle's right here, still got a good strong charge in it. It wouldn't take much to actually add a little bit more moisture to this somewhat dry material that we're throwing in here. So why don't we do that? I like that idea. I'm sure the worms wouldn't mind this stuff going in here dry. It would probably help just cap off the moisture content that's below it, but to some degree I believe it will also probably suck in moisture into itself. So finally it'll just give us a good excuse to run the squirt bottle for long enough that we can get the debris on my glove rinsed off and returned back down into the system. So, well, I'm glad it was my prepared bedding that fell and spilled onto the ground. It could have been something more messy. So that stuff picked up pretty easily, and we needed some anyway, so I picked up the majority of it by hand, threw it back into the container. Whatever remained, that seemed like a sufficient amount to get today's check-in completed. I scooped it up so we can drop it in here for these little guys. So I've got this piece of paper bag to use as sort of a top covering before we return the plastic onto here, but you know what? I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more of my worm chow right onto this top coating of leaves, which has been nice and thoroughly dampened. Will be covered with plastic so that the moisture will remain on it, and it'll probably share a good bit of its moisture with this paper bag, although perhaps we should just do the same. Follow suit with the paper bag? Sure, why not? We'll put everything in here nice and damp, hopefully avoiding dry conditions and keeping stuff super cozy so the worms feel comfortable cruising through any portion of the system, not feeling like they've got to steer clear of anything due to the sensation of what might seem to be too dry or too uncomfortable to be in. So let's see how that goes. I think it's going to go well. So that's it for our check-in with the VermiBag Mini now, everybody, on day 486. Coming along pretty nice. I don't even remember. It's maybe feeding number 38 or something like that. So at this age, geez, the feedings just sort of flow together. All right, everyone, that's it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.